parties in enforcing a judgment of the court. The second petition is from the law firm of Chris Okpala & Co. on behalf of Stella Alochukwu against Premium Pension Limited. She is seeking assistance for the premium pension to pay her entitlements. The third petition is from Corporal Abu Moses with force number 371722. He is seeking the assistance of this House to reinstate him back to his position for unlawful dismissal. The fourth petition, Mr. Speaker, is from the law firm of M.U. Alato & Co. On behalf of Usman, against the Federal Capital Territory and most especially Department of Development Control to allow him peaceful possession of his plot of land. The fifth petition, Mr. Speaker, is also from M.U. Alato & Co., legal practitioners, on behalf of Julie Rua. He was killed on active service, being a police officer. They are asking the assistance of this House to compel the police to produce the corpse. The next petition, Mr. Speaker, is for JustCon Nigeria Limited on unlawful termination of employment of Chukwudi Joshua Osai. He is seeking the assistance of this House to reinstate him and pay him his benefits. The next petition as well is also from JustCon Nigeria Limited against Ajib on behalf of Umo Iwele Abotu Community Development. They are being marginalized, and also there is degradation of environment. Mr. Speaker, the next petition is from the Joint Unions Academic Staff of Research Institution. They are bringing this petition against the emergence of Dr. Mrs. Enwezo as the Director General of the Institute of NITR Kaduna. The next petition, Mr. Speaker, is also from Oluwafemi Ajiboso Chambers on behalf of Ogonru Ori Town against the Federal Ministry of Works. Federal Ministry of Works is interfering with their position. They are seeking the assistance of this House. The next one is from Wale Oyewole Chambers on behalf of Njoku Elizabeth and 11 others against the Federal Ministry of Environment. They are seeking for either reinstatement or payment of their benefits. The last petition, Mr. Speaker, is from the law firm of Law Icons on behalf of Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria against Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment for flagrant disobedience of the provisions of the Act number 3 establishment of 2018. Those are the petitions, Mr. Speaker, and I seek your leave to tender.
Go ahead and lay your petitions.
Sorry, excuse
Okay. Another petition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Kani Abubakar Fogo, member representing the good people of Shira and Giade Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Bauchi State. I rise to table a petition on behalf of my constituent who has or who own a business entity in Nigeria, a drilling company in particular, named Sunrise Global Drilling Company, and whose business is put to a halt by the Nigerian Army Authority that needs to be investigated and apportion blame where necessary. Mr. Speaker, I so present. Thank you.
Go ahead and lay a petition. All petitions refer to Committee on Public Petition. All members, any member who has a matter of urgent public importance to present to the House may please rise to do so. Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Berniwa Krika Samaguli Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am coming under Order 854, matters of urgent national importance. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, motion on urgent need to redeploy soldiers withdrawn from certain bandit flag points within Wase Federal Constituency. House notes that the spate of banditry ravaging several states within northern part of the county and Nigeria as a whole. Further notes that in December 2001, a motion was taken on the floor of this House on the need to halt the wanton killings and kidnappings by bandits in Wasi Federal Constituency of Plateau State and other neighboring towns in Kanam local government area of Plateau and Lao and Karim Damido local governments in Taraba states, upon which the House made several far-reaching resolutions. Informed that as a result of the aforementioned motion, an ad hoc committee was set up to probe the incessant bandit attacks in Wasi local government, which I was honored to chair. Further informed that Chapter 2 of 1999 Constitution as amended, particularly Section 14, subsection 2B, provides that it is hereby accordingly declared.
Silence, please, silence.
Aware that security agencies, especially the Army, took several measures by deploying soldiers and other security personnel to man several towns and villages which were flashpoints of bandits' attacks. Appreciate the effort of security agents in their continuous vigilance and proactive measures towards reducing the incessant bandit killings. Informed that recently, however, several security personnel who have been manning several checkpoints within Wasi Federal Constituency were withdrawn based on directives from above. Further informed that since the withdrawal of these security personnel from those flashpoints, the spate of bandit attacks has resumed in full force and has become a daily occurrence within the Wasi Federal Constituency. Worried that if these security personnel are not redeployed back to these positions immediately, many lives and properties will continue to be lost, as several persons have already been either killed, kidnapped.
Point of order, Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Esteemed colleagues, my name is Solomon Bob. Our chairman rules on business. Our chairman rules on business hasn't sought the leave of the House to move the motion. He first has to, seek leave of the House to move the motion, and then he will be seconded before he can go to the body of the motion. He's a very dependable chairman rules on business. You should know these things. Thank you, sir.
Point of order is very apt and in order. I just deliberately allow him to continue because of the loss of time. But the normal procedure will have been first to seek for the leave of the House to allow him, and then we'll put the question. And I would beg with colleagues, for the loss of time, to allow him move the motion. Thank you.
Can I go ahead, Mr. Speaker? Okay, Mr. Speaker, what the honorable member raised is apt, is in order. Mr. Speaker, I move.
Thank you.
That we do suspend relevant sections of standing rules to enable me take this motion as a matter of urgent national importance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Buba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba Yakub. I represent Gombe Hong Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. I rise to second that we suspend our relevant rules to enable Honorable Flatter take this matter as urgent. And now, I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. Yes, have it. I believe no.
I will continue with, from where I stopped.
Thank you.
Aware that the security agencies, especially the Army, took several measures by deploying soldiers and other security personnel to man several towns and villages which were flashpoints of bandit attacks. Appreciate the effort of security agents in their continuous vigilance and proactive measures towards reducing the incessant bandit attacks. Informed that recently our several security personnel who have been monitoring various checkpoints within Wasi Federal Constituency were withdrawn based on directives from above. Further informed that since the withdrawal of these security personnel from those flashpoints, the spate of bandit attacks has resumed with full force and has become a daily occurrence within Wasi Federal Constituency. Worried that if these security personnel are not redeployed back to these positions immediately, many lives and properties will continue to be lost. Have already been either killed or kidnapped in several villages, including Inyalun, Gain, Safio, Pinau, and several other small villages within Wase Federal Constituency. Further worried that due to the proximity of Wase Federal Constituency to several northeastern and north-central states such as Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, and Nasarawa states, continuous escalation in these killings and kidnappings will create serious geopolitical security situation too difficult to curtail. House resolved that this Honorable House should, as a matter of urgency, urge the Chief of Army Staff to immediately restore soldiers who were withdrawn out of these flashpoints within Wase Federal Constituency. 2. Urge the Chief of Army Staff to establish more military presence in Pinau, Bangalala, Yuli, and Zurak, all in Wase Federal Constituency, Bukawa in Kanam local government, and Lau in Karim Lamido local government of Taraba State. 3. Urge the Honorable Minister of Defense to initiate a coordinated joint security operation within Wase Federal Constituency and adjoining towns located in Plateau State, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Taraba, and Nasarawa State to flush out these bandits and prevent them from escaping to other states. 4. Urge the Department of State Services and Director of Military Intelligence to gather intelligence on the influx, rampaging, and operations of bandits within Wase Federal Constituency and adjoining towns and share same with other sister security agencies. 5. Urge the Inspector General of Police to provide more force squadron formation bases in Pinau, Bangalada, Yuli, and Zurak, all in Wase Federal Constituency, Bukawa in Kanam local government of Plateau State, and Lau and Karim Lamido in Taraba State. Direct the Committee on Defense, Army, and Police and legislative compliance to ensure compliance and furnish the House with monthly reports until the security situation is resolved. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Eden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun, Orogonam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by Chairman Rules and Business. I so second.
Colleagues, do I put the question? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Agbedi Yetimna Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Keremo Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Order 8, Rule 4 on the matter of urgent public importance, on the need to have the national identity number displayed on the national identity card. Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to allow me to take this motion because it's urgent. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder to the motion. My brother
Speaker, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, Samson Oko, member represent Udobi Federal Constituency from Benue. I rise to second the motion by my friend Fred Abwebi.
Respected colleagues, those in favor that the motion is urgent and I will suspend our relevant rules to enable him to take his motion, say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, go ahead and present the motion, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Agbedi Yetimna Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Keremo Federal Constituency. I am from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the need to have national identity number displayed on the national identity card. Aware that the national identity number NIN is used by government of many countries as a means of tracking their citizens permanent and temporary residents for the purposes of work, taxation, government, benefits, healthcare, and other government-related functions. Also aware that in Nigeria, the National Identity Number is issued and managed by the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, established to create, operate, and manage Nigeria's national identity database in government institutions, register individuals and legal residents assigned under national identification number, and introduce general multipurpose cards. Further aware that the national identification number is a unique number which identifies you for life, and it is issued after your enrollment. It matches you with your biometric data and other details in the national identity data based during verification and authentication. It is said to be used for virtually all transactions in Nigeria requiring identity verification. Also aware that the National Identity Management Commission began enrollment exercise in September 2010 and started the issuance of a multi-purpose identity card in 2013. And only recently, the Commission has started issuing a digital ID card, which displays only the name, age, and nationality of the holder of the ID card without displaying the NIN number. Informed that a look at the face of the national identity cards issued by the Commission reveals that the Commission neglected or failed to include the national identification number on the face of the ID cards issued by the Commission. This has brought untold hardship on the citizens who, in a bid to retrieve their NIN via short codes provided by telecommunication service providers, still have to pay for services or service charges. Convinced that as important as the national identification number is, it is important that same should be reflected on the face of the national identity card for easy access and used to reduce the pains of the citizenry, as it is even now reflected in the current Nigerian passport issued by the Nigerian Immigration Service. Resolves to one, urge the National Identity Management Commission to redesign their further national identity cards to be issued by the Commission to carry or reflect the national identification number NIN. And two, mandate the House Committee on Interior to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Thank you, sir.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Chisom, Province TK is my name. I represent the good people of Eleme, Oyibo, and Tai Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Fred Abadi. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. We still have one motion under matters of urgent public importance. So I will beg the chairman of rules to plead with the House to suspend our rules to enable us to take the third motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Samfunata. I represent Berniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that we do suspend extant provisions of Order 8, Rule 4 to enable us take more than 2 motions as provided for in our rules. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Distinguished Senator in waiting.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Sam Ono Ibo. I represent the good people of Great Ikuano, Umuahia North, Umuahia South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Flatter. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Yes, sir.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Rumande Shaulu Kwewum, representing Taukum Donga Osa and Yangtu Federal Constituency of Taraba State. I rise to urge the House under the relevant rules, Order 8.4, that the House should consider very urgently the matter of hunger that have been published by all the experts around that Nigeria is going to face serious hunger problems this year, that the House should consider it as urgent, and that we discuss it urgently today. Arise. Thank you.
Why won't you use the correct word you gave me? Food shortage.
Food shortage.
Thank you.
Hunger.
Thank you. Seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Solomon Bob. I represent Abua Odua and the East Federal Constituency of Rivers State. I rise to second the motion, very well moved by Right Honorable, or rather Honorable Shawolu Rima Kwegu. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Rima, go ahead and present a motion.
The urgent need to in place emergency programs and protocol for the impending food shortages. The House knows that the world generally is apprehensive of an impending massive food shortage and possible famine this year. Notes that while the current impending food shortage is directly related to the Ukrainian-Russian war, which has impacted negatively on the supply of grains and fertilizers, while some other areas have remained under armed conflicts. Note also that next to petroleum products, Nigeria's highest import bill is on food, which is becoming costlier around the world, and our economic outlook, especially the debt-revenue ratio, may not be able to support the needed massive importation of food. The House notes further that a recently released central bank report showed that Nigerian food import increased by 45% to 2.71 billion naira in 12 months in 2021. The House is aware also that various reports by different multilateral organizations and international NGOs show that a very significant population of Nigeria will face acute food shortage and possible famine in this year, 2022. Aware also that so far the attention of the international community is directed at the dire needs arising from the conflicts in the Northeast, which has been made pledges and donations. Concerned that Nigeria is number 152 of the 188 countries surveyed on the Human Development Index, and at least 110 million people, or possibly 60% of the population, live below poverty and will be subjected to untold hardship without support. Further concerned that the UNCHR has alerted that 14.5 million people in Nigeria today are faced with food insecurity. Cognizant of the fact that it has been established that the major driver of food crisis around the world has been conflict and insecurity, as 60% of all the world's hungry people live in areas affected by armed conflicts. Notes further that initially the northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa, Yobe were in the front burner of the food crisis. However, with the widening security challenges, the food shortage and crisis have spread to many more states. Notes further that in the new projection, at least 16 states and the federal capital will face major food crisis this year. These states include Abia, Adamawa, Benue, Cross Rivers, Edo, Enugu, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Lagos, Niger, Plateau, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara states. Cognizant of the fact that terrorists often lay siege on farms, kidnap farmers, sack villages, and force farmers to pay ransom or even some fees before accessing their farms, considering the fact that many farming communities have abandoned their farms and are seeking refuge in urban centers and internally displaced persons camps, and concerned that should no proactive actions be taken now, the impending hunger and food shortages would worsen Nigeria's security situation. The House therefore resolves to urge the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, NEMA, the Presidency, and the Ministry of Agri to begin to make arrangements to mitigate the emerging food challenge. And two, to mandate all the agri-related House committees to interface with the appropriate ministries and agencies, as well as international development partners, to begin the process of establishing and implementing protocols to manage food resources and mitigate the impending food crisis. We so move. Honorable Speaker.
Seconder, my brother from Plateau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable colleagues, I'm Dachu Musa Bagos, representing the good, great people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency from Plateau State. I rise to second this most important motion on the issue of food shortage in the country. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. We have two matters under personal explanation. First, from Honorable Comrade Mohammed Ali Udin, who represented the House in the dialogue with Labour as they came forward today to present their issue. Can you please rise to brief the House?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Right Honorable Engineer Comrade Muhammad Ali Udil. I represent Udil Garko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, by the mandate of the leadership, I was sent to receive members of the Nigerian Labour Congress who are on protest and to submit their demands in respect of the solidarity to ASU. The demands are received. We went with about 7 members, and the Labour Congress forwarded their demands. And I spoke, and also my leader, Right Honorable Comrade Peter Patterson, also spoke. We assure them that National Assembly, more especially House of Reps, is the last bus stop of a common man. And also, National Assembly is a symbol of democracy. Even in military, there is ministers, there are governors, but there is no legislator. And we told them that we have received their complaint and their demands in solidarity of ASU. And on behalf of the House, I promise them that the leadership of the House of Representatives will ensure that we are going to bring all those concerned to the table. The Minister of Education, Minister of Labor, Minister of Finance, ASU, TUC, and also NANS, to ensure that we give a time, if it is sleeping on that day, to ensure that that matter is resolved to the tune that everybody will understand. We assure them that we are also representative of the people. If they feel the pain in solidarity of ASU, we too, in this part, we also feeling that pain. Some of us, or almost many of us, have their also children in the public universities. But I heard some people are saying that all our children are not in public university. But Mr. Speaker, you know so many of us, they have their also children in the public university. But so that be, we assure them that this matter they brought, that we are going to look at it. Mr. Speaker, part of the demand also is that they want autonomy of local government also to be included so that our local government can also function so that, no, they are saying that their state government, do you understand, to hear state assembly member, state assembly to also keep to our resolution or to our passing of the local government autonomy, and which they said about only five or thereabout legislators in the state passed the local government authority. So, Mr. Speaker, they did the rally peacefully, we addressed them peacefully, and they left peacefully. So, Mr. Speaker, and they even commended, more especially in the House of Rep, but by attending to them quickly, even before the Senate. So, Mr. Speaker, they commended us, they salute us, they sent their demand to us. The demand is on with my clerk. Immediately after now, it's going to be sent to you for further legislative action. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, matters under personal explanation are not subject of debate, but we appreciate the work done by Comrade Engineer Ali Udil and the members on behalf of the House, and with the assurance that by the grace of God, leadership will wade into it and act promptly, and we are going to do justice to all their demands. Thank you very much. I believe Comrade Goro was alongside with you. So thank you for the good work, and may God continue to guide us. Thank you. Last on the matters under public personal explanation is coming from my brother from Gombe.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Victor Melat Anzaria. I represent the people of Balanga Plenary Federal Constituency. Your Excellency, I'm from Gombe State. Your Excellency, distinguished honorable colleagues, I stand under Order 8, Rule 5. Distinguished honorable colleagues, since Thursday last week up to this moment, my community has been tense and not sleeping. Why? Because of bandits, bad people, and thieves. Distinguished honorable colleagues, the police command and other security agencies in Gombe State received a briefing and intelligence about a group of bandit, bad Fulanis, and thieves that are moving around with close to 1,000 cows and other animals. These people were intercepted in Gombe State, they were intercepted in my constituency, they were intercepted in my village. Honorable Speaker, I got to know that these cows and other animals, getting up to 500 of them, they were stolen, some from Plateau, some from Bauchi, and some from Taraba. And at the instant of getting the intelligence, the local hunters, the police set trap for these people. And they were intercepted in the village called Kalmai, in Plenary local government. Little did I know, some of these stolen animals are even from Wase, where our deputy speaker is from. You might be one of them. The whole of these animals were taken to the stadium in Plenary local government. And that has created a tension. The community are tense because they don't want other thieves to come and attack the community. Honorable colleagues, I spoke with the Commissioner of Police, I spoke with the area commandant, I spoke with the DPO. None of them are at peace because of what is happening. But we want to appreciate the local hunters, appreciate the police, and the police command and other security agencies in Gombe State for intercepting these cows and other animals. And to add, Weapons were recovered after search. AK-47 were recovered, AK-49 were recovered. Large sum of money were recovered from these people. There were about 18 of them and their family members. Distinguished honorable colleagues, there could be bad people here and there. We want to appreciate the work of these intelligence officers. Why these thieves decided to come to the blessed and sacred land of the Tangale people in Balanga in Billiri local government, we don't know why. But they were arrested there. They are now with the CID. We want to thank them for the work, especially security agencies. I want to pray that the Inspector General of Police to improve the security in Billiri local government, because when their friends and other bad bandits will not attack Billiri local government because of the arrest of these other ones. We want to ask again that the security agencies, right now, there are claims of these animals. I believe some from Plateau, Taraba, and also Bauchi are in Billiri local government, try to claim their animals. We pray, I pray, again, my prayer is for the Commissioner of Police and the other agencies that are in charge of releasing these animals to hasten the release systematically so that the tension in Billiri local government will slow down. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, this is my personal explanation, and I hope that all of you will pray for Billiri local government that will not experience any attack from any bad bandits, the bad Fulani and the herders that are going around killing people and stealing people's animals. Thank you very much, honorable colleagues.
Thank you very much, my colleague. I want to believe this is a sort of collaboration and good work by the community. To be specific, it was on the 16th of July, 23rd of July that this thing happened. And so far, what has been recovered, we have to commend the men of the force, the vigilante. 2, they have recovered 7 AK-47, 8,000 rounds of live ammunition, caliber of 7.62, 39 magazines, 1 bag of containing undisclosed amount of money. I was informed reliably yesterday, as in 1 bag alone, they were able to recover more than 15 million naira. And so far, as of then, I want to be the credible information, 4 women, 4 grown-up boys were the ones arrested. This, I want to believe, the security are also doing their best, and we should all collaborate to ensure that we have peace. The public may be fear that there may be through, maybe for fear of attack by the group of the bandits. This will call on the Inspector General of Police, the IG, the Chief of Defense Staff, and all concerned to ensure nothing happens to that community, so that we'll continue to reap from the good attitude of some of our citizens who are out there to clean bad people in our society. Thank you very much. These are the little light I thought I should throw. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of 5 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Federal College of Nursing and Sanctum Midwifery, Panyam, Plateau State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Potatoes Research Center of Nigeria, Bokos, Plateau State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Federal College of Agriculture, Mba, Plateau State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Public-Private Partnership Regulatory Commission Establishment Bill 2022, first reading.
The second business of the day is presentation of report of a conference committee on a bill for an act to repeal Colleges of Education Act and enact federal colleges of education and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Aminu Suleiman. Honorable Suleiman is invited to move the motion. Comrade, you have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State, Metropolitan, for purposes of clarity. Representative Aminu Suleiman is my name. I represent Pagi Federal Constituency.
What is the percentage of the municipality in relation to the villages?
Sorry, sir. Maybe you ask the leader who is from the village.
No, I'm from the village. I'm also asking you.
Mr. Speaker, he's from Kurna Metropolitan, Kurna Asabe, along 9th Mile, on your way to Daura and Katsina State.
Your Excellency, sir, I rise to present a conference committee report on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Colleges of Education Act 1986 and to reenact Federal Colleges of Education and for other related matters. I so present, Your Excellency.
Point of order? Okay. Honorable Toby, your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Toby Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Goji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, the comrade, the one-time comrade, is giving us a report regarding repeal of an institution. But there is a very contemporary and very contemporaneous matter, which is the absence of our universities from being in operation. And I was thinking,
what is the point of order?
my point of order is that the comrades should give us
Refer us for the standing order, the point of order you are raising.
That's what I'm saying, personal explanation.
No.
So he should personally explain to us what the outcome of his interaction with us and the protesters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, for the standing order you are raising, which you are privileged, and then it is entitlement. It's not subject of debate and cannot be debated. So your point of order is noted. Thank you. We will proceed with the laying of your report. Seconder, sorry, we have to have the seconder. Yeah. Kasina, Speaker.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker, I remain Honorable Abubakar Yahya Sada. I rise to second as moved by Honorable Comrade Aminu Suleiman Goro. Thank you.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Comrade Aminu, you may go ahead and present your report. Respected colleagues, the third business of the day is presentation of 11 reports of the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services, standing in the name of Mutari Danduse. Honorable Danduse is invited to present the reports.
Mr. Speaker, since Honorable Danduse is not on the floor, I move that the laying of these reports be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Laying of the report stepped down by the leave of the House. Business of the day, respected colleagues, is presentation of 3 reports of the health institutions, standing in the name of Honorable Pascal Obi. Honorable Obi is invited to present the reports.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I'm Honorable Dr. Pascal Chigozie Obi. I represent the very good people of Idato North, Idato South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to provide legal framework to upgrade the General Hospital Onitsha to Federal Medical Center Onitsha in Anambra State, and for related matters, HB 277. Also that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Health Sciences and Technology, Kankin, and to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university, and for related matters, HB 164 or 1641. Also, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Health Technology, Itebukumi, Ondo State, and for related matters, HB 826. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Seconder, the only Shetima in the House. Are you the only Shetima? But there's a title Shetima from Niger State.
That's why it's duplicated, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I'm Lawan Shetima Ali, representing Bursari Gaida Minusari Federal Constituency. I'm from Yobe State, sir. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my able chairman, Pascal Obi. So I so second, sir.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Honorable Pascal Obi, please go ahead and lay a report. The fifth business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values on a bill for an act to provide for regulation and conduct of the practice of broadcasting profession in Nigeria and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Olusegun Odebomi. All members will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 25th November 2022. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Odebomi is invited to present the report. But he was on the floor.
Look the stage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Odebomi Segun is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere, Ugolu, and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to lay the report. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Yeah, I rise to present to lay the report of the committee that he has to receive the report of the Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values on a bill for not to provide for the regulations and conduct of the practice of broadcasting profession in Nigeria and related matter. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Miriam Princess.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I represent the good people of Isi Alambano, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my brother. I do second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. You allow us take a bill. Our brother has an appointment, particularly regarding his own health. That's bill number what? I'm asking you, bill number what?
It's on number 17.
17. Respected colleagues, the next business of the day is commencement debate on general principle of bill for an act to introduce preventive measures and teachings of sexual, gender-based violence into the curriculum as a compulsory subject, civic education for all secondary schools in Nigeria and for related matters, standing now Honorable Julius. All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 26 July 2020. I now invite Professor Julius to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Professor Julius Ihonvere, member representing Owa Federal Constituency, Edo State. And I rise to move that the bill for an act to introduce preventive measures on teaching of sexual, gender-based violence, SGBV, into the curriculum as a compulsory subject, civic education for all secondary schools in Nigeria for related matters be read a second time. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Ari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Respected colleagues, Ari Mohammed Abdul Momin is my name. I represent National Tutor Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. Every move by a colleague is so second.
Those in favor that the bill reads second time, say aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it. Invited to read the long title of the bill. Yes, 17.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to introduce preventive measures and teachings of sexual, gender-based violence into the curriculum of as a compulsory subject, civic education for all secondary schools in Nigeria and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Basic Education and Services. Respected colleagues, the first order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Satellite Towns Development Agency for providing, maintaining, regulating, and operating public infrastructure, economic and strategic development plans, and auxiliary purposes for the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters, standing in the name of that leader. All members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 21st July 2022. I therefore call on the leader of the House to move that the bill be read the third time. Can go ahead to move from this to the 10th bill. They are all for the third reading.
It's all right, sir, as directed, sir. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My respected colleagues, members of the Ninth House of Representatives, I remain Alhassan Ado Dogwa. Mr. Speaker, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I come from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise with the leave of the Speaker and the House to move that a bill for an act to establish the Satellite Towns Development Agency for providing, maintaining, regulating, and operating public infrastructure, economic and strategic development plans, and ancillary purposes for the Federal Capital Territory, and for related matters, HB 43, be read the third time. Mr. Speaker, a bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance professionals to regulate the activities of members of the profession, and for related matters, HB 457, a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Emergency, Crisis and Disaster Risk Management, charged with the responsibility of advancing the study, training, and practice of emergency and disaster management, and determining the standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered members of the Institute, and for related matters, HB 1707, a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Examiners of Nigeria to provide for the regulation and control of its membership and promote the practice of forensics and fraud examiners in Nigeria, and for related matters, HB 1220, a bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Colleges of Education and enact the National Commission for Colleges of Education Bill, and for related matters, HB 1985, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Crop Science and Food Technology, Lere, Kaduna State, and for related matters, HB 1887, a bill for an act to establish National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, provide for the creation and development of an enabling environment for technology, enable startups in Nigeria, and for related matters, HB 1886, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Forestry, Wawa Zenge, Duku, Gombe State, to provide for full-time courses in forestry, technology, and development to improve genetic resources of forest, trees, and ecosystem for economic development and applied sciences, management, and other fields of study, and for related matters, HB 1816, and another bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture in Jebu-Jesa, Osun State, for related matters, HB 322, and a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Orerope, Delta State, and for related matters, HB 663, be read the third time and concurrently. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohiozoje Apatasin MNI. I represent the great people of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Edo State. I second the third reading of the 10 bills as earlier moved by the Leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. To read the long title of the bills.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish the Satellite Towns Development Agency for providing, maintaining, regulating, and operating public infrastructure, economic and strategic development plans, and ancillary purposes for the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals to regulate the activities of members of the profession and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Emergency, Crisis, and Disaster Risk Management, charged with the responsibility of advancing the study, training, and practice of emergency and disaster management, and determine the standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered members of the Institute and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Examiners of Nigeria, provide for regulation and control of its membership, and promote the practice of forensics, and fraud examiners in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Colleges of Education Act and enact the National Commission for Colleges of Education Bill and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Federal College of Crop Science and Food Technology, Lere, Kaduna State, and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, provide for the creation and development of an enabling environment for technology-enabled startups in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Forestry, Wawa Zange Duku, Gombe State, to provide full-time courses in forestry, technology and development to improve generic resources of forestries and ecosystem for economic development and applied science management and other fields of study and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ijegujesa, Osun State, and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Technology, Orerokwe, Delta State, and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and pass. The 11th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish non-governmental and civil society organization agency for the promotion of social development activities in Nigeria and for these matters, standing in the names of Honorable Sada Soli. All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 19 July 2022, and now invite Honorable Sada to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Sada Soli Jibia. Mr. Speaker, I think there is a mix-up on the part of the Secretariat because this bill was read the second time yesterday. Yes. I think this bill was read for the second time yesterday. Yes, sir. If you go through the record,
Chairman,
there should be a mix-up.
What is the relationship between you and the bill?
It's the Secretariat, I believe so.
If it was read the second time, why do you have to represent it again?
Orders from above.
Thank you. I don't know what language to use because it's not captured in our rule.
Mr. Speaker, I think this bill was even committed.
Honorable Yabo, you come late and you are distracting the sitting. Honorable Yabo,
to
please.
a committee to deal with it. If I can recall properly.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Step down for the fact that it was presented yesterday.
Honorable Sergios, you come late and you are distracting the sitting. Please, go to your seat.
Honorable Sada, I remember the bill you presented yesterday. If this bill is standing in your own name, wasn't this bill? The bill you presented yesterday was the one that has to do with Central Bank of Nigeria. It wasn't this bill. Or it's not a bill.
Precisely, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Sada Soli Jibia, representing Jibia Keita Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion.
Well, let me beg the House first to suspend the rule to allow, because we have already stepped down the consideration on the fact that.
Mr. Speaker, I have to avail my attention to the leader of the House that is sitting by my side, and for that reason, I was a little bit distracted innocently.
I will beg that we'll rescind our decision first before you take the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Can you move the motion?
Honorable Koko,
thank you, Mr.
if you are going, please go.
Honorable colleagues.
Yes, he's disturbing people behind. Honorable Koko.
I represent Berniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that we seen the elders seen in stepping down bill number 11. I so move.
Seconder. Ari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Ari Shetima Nasarama Kamadogo. I represent Nasarawa Total Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Nasarawa State. I rise to second the motion every move by leaders of the House. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Say nay. The ayes have it. Respectfully, the 12th order of the day is the Commission of Debate on the General Principle of Beef and Act to establish. The 11th is for is the Commission of Debate on the General Principle of Beef and Act to establish non-governmental and civil society organizations agency for the promotion of social development activities in Nigeria and for related matters standing in the name of Musad Soli. All members who called the bill was read the first time Tuesday, July 2021. I now move that the bill be read the second time. Sada, what's the problem today?
Mr. Speaker, sir.
It's not read for the second.
Mr. Speaker, please.
The bill is not read.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is not ready, but however, I think we don't have copies of the bill on the floor of the House, and some of us want to read this before it can be read for the second time. We need to go through the bill. It's talking about civil society organizations and all of that. This is a very, very critical issue, and we know that if we don't have the content, if we don't go through the content, and at the end of the day, what is in it is not suitable for the public, Nigerian public, it's going to be an issue for this House. I want to suggest that you should present copies to the House so that we'll go through and internalize it very well before we come to make contribution on the floor of the House.
Well, maybe before you will step down, if it is the wish of the House, we'll always bow to their own wishes. But I want you to recall the various motions we have taken on the floor of this particular House on the activities of some of the NGOs, particular reference to what has happened and still happening within the Northwest region, how they will go and take a house rentage for 20-something years, and the various taxi support they give to the insurgency that is going. And we thought that it's good we have a regulation and a kind of conduct that should guide their own existence. I believe this is what the bill is talking about. It is the collective resolve of the House that we need to regulate the activities of NGOs, not to say that we are eliminated, but to regulate. And in any case, I believe when it comes to consideration, after it won't just go to the committee of the whole, it will go to for public hearing. Thereafter, it will come, and we will not lose any sight. I know you are concerned as a comrade. I also have the same concern as a comrade, but then we cannot compromise our corporate security. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Tobi Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Gojiriba Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, this bill and its presentation, I think it is good for us to have the general principles of the bill. It should be discussed, and it should be discussed from a position of knowledge. It is important that our colleague makes this available to members so that we don't appear to be making laws ignorantly. It should be from a position of knowledge. Even though he had said that he was withdrawn, I couldn't remember because I was distracting him. I don't want to succumb to that blackmail, but I think it should be withdrawn and presented later so that we can argue it for a betterment of
Instead of the word withdraw and step down, because I believe it's gazetted, and if it is gazetted, we all have the copies of the gazette.
Former Chairman appropriation. Former Chairman appropriation.
Mr. Speaker.
Former Chairman appropriation.
Mr. Speaker, because of our common fraternity, because of this bill is about this country, I can remember at one time when we summoned the service chiefs, including the National Security Advisor, all of them concurred on the need to have a legislation, just like some other jurisdictions do, in order to monitor. This bill is not to gag or is not to strangulate the operations, the activities of the NGOs. But I can understand the sensitivity of this bill because it affects a number of our colleagues. Some of our colleagues run one-room NGOs. Some of our colleagues, they have relationship with the NGOs and civil societies. And even this country is benefiting from, I would want to give more time.
Oppose the acting chief whip. Honorable Sargios.
I would want to give more time to my colleagues.
Before you see the speaker.
And the general public, since the bill is gazetted, I want to give them more time so that we can earn more of their contribution to see how we can strengthen this legislation in order to help the country to streamline how these NGOs and civil societies operate in this country, because we are doing it for posterity. This bill is a futuristic legislation that will guarantee safety for this country. So I would want to, by the leave of the House, to allow this bill, step it down, give more time for my colleagues to read it, and for the general public to look at it so that we can strengthen the legislation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of a bill for an act to establish federal polytechnic, Sabon Gobir, Sokoto State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Said Bargaja. Honorable members will recall the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 16 March 2022, and I invite Honorable Bargaja to move that.
Honorable Osai,
yes.
Go to your seat. Honorable Osai.
Second time.
Maki, you are a first timer. You are not supposed to sit there.
You are a last timer. Have you got your ticket?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, my name is Honorable Bargaja Mohammed, the Shatima of Gobir Kingdom, member representing good people of Eastern and Sambini Federal Constituency. I'm from Sokoto State. I hereby move for able to enact a legislation of Federal Polytechnic Sambini Gobir in Sokoto State, and for related matters, HB 1899. I so move.
Second. Yes, Honorable Moma.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Honorable Ifeanyi Chudi Moma is my name.
Honorable Falaki, we're not yet done.
Speak for the people of Ihiala Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion that the bill be read second time, say aye. Against, say nay. That's it. To the long title of the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish Federal Polytechnic, Sabon Gobir, Sokoto State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Respected colleagues, the 13th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend Section 39(1) of Corrupt Practices and Other Related Matters Act, Cap. Okay. Cap C2 by including the administration of criminal justice and act among act to which this act applies and following matters, standing in the name of Honorable Olumide Osoba. All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 23rd March 2022. I now invite Honorable Shoba to move that the bill be read the second time. Honorable Olumide is not on the floor. You are not doing the business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Oshoba is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of this bill be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Chidoka too is not on the floor.
Honorable, I also grab the indulgence of the chair to request that item number 14 on the order paper be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move.
Second reading of the bills number 13 and 14 as scheduled on our order paper stepped down by the leave of the House. And 16? The 15th day is commencement of debate on general principle of bill for an act to establish the Petroleum Training Institute of Munsia, LMA, to provide courses of instruction, training, and research in petroleum technology and produce technicians and other skilled personnel required to run the petroleum industry and following matters standing in the name of Honorable Chisom. Promise, DK. All members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 19 July 2022. I now invite Honorable DK to move that the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I rise to move a motion to lead a debate on the bill for an act to establish the Petroleum Training Institute in Abonchia Eleme of Rivers State to provide courses of instruction, training, and research in petroleum technology and to produce technicians and other skilled personnel required to run the petroleum industry and for related matters, HB 2031. My name is Honorable Chisom Promise DK. I represent the good people of Eleme, Oyibo, Anti-Federal Constituency, River State. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, is this a river business bill? Is this a reverse bill? Thank you. Sorry, leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Akin Alabi and I represent the good people of Egbeda Naira Federal Constituency. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second that this bill be read the second time. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, Honorable Chisom, you want to throw more light? Thank you. Those in favor that the bill be read second time, say aye. Against, say nay. That's have it. Clerks is invited to read the long title for the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish the Petroleum Training Institute, Abonshia LMA, to provide courses of instructions, training, and research in petroleum technology and produce technicians and other skilled personnel required to run the petroleum industry and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. The 16th order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of bill for an act to amend the National Health Act number 8 of 2014 to extend the functions of the National Council to include the provision of required medical equipment and maintenance across the Federation and funding of the provision of the medical equipment maintenance for primary, secondary, and tertiary health services in Nigeria, and in order to achieve the objective of providing improved national health care services to all Nigerians and following matters, standing in the name of Amos Magaji Gomna. All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 16 June 2022. I now invite Honorable Gomna to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Magaji is not on the floor. I move that secretary of this bill be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Yes. The 18th order of the day is a motion on decision on the referral of the Public Interest Disclosure and Complaints Enactment Bill, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Borneo Akrika Samagui Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, decision on referral of the Public Interest Disclosure and Complaints Enactment Bill. The House notes that on the 4th of May 2022, the Public Interest Disclosure and Complaints Enactment Bill was passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives and transmitted to the Clerk of the National Assembly for onward transmission to the President Commander-in-Chief for assent. Recall that the procedure required to pass the bill as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution is two-thirds majority of members of the House of Representatives. Aware of the omission to have passed the bill through the procedure indicated above, desirous of the need for two-thirds majority of members in passing the bill, House resolves to rescind its decision on the bill as passed and recommit same to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration and passage. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconded to the motion. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Ebisike Chimobi Haichuku. I represent the good and hard-working people of Aba North, Aba South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. I rise to support the motion heavily moved by my honorable colleague. I so support.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Respected colleagues, the 19th order of the day is a motion on need for toll-free customer care call center for multinational and public liability companies in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Moyokun Lawson Alade. Honorable Alade is invited to move the motion.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleague. My name is Honorable Moyokun Lawson Alade. I represent the good people of Akure North South Federal Constituency. I am from Ondo State. The need for toll-free customer call center for multinational and public liability companies in Nigeria. Note that multinational and public liability companies in Nigeria have client transacting business with them. Most of them do not have a toll-free telephone line for clients to reach them with their complaints. Also note that clients can reach out to companies through mediums like social media, electronic media, text messages. However, clients generally prefer to reach out to such companies through telephone call. Dismay that the absence of a toll-free customer call center has subjected clients to charges for calls made either to lay complaint or to seek resolution on disputes that arise in course of any transaction. Cognizant to the need for multinational and public liability companies to provide a toll-free call center and display their telephone number on their official website for easy access to the public as it is obtainable in other parts of the world. Also cognizant that the introduction of a toll-free call center will promote businesses and also guarantee effective customer service delivery resolved. All the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy to direct the multinational companies and public liability companies in Nigeria to provide toll-free customer center numbers for their customers and clients in Nigeria. Also to mandate the Committee on Telecommunication and Legislative Compliance to ensure implementation. I so submit.
Benungwari.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. Shehu Balarabe is my name. I represent Bruningwari Giwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my dear colleague. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Do I put the question? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. The 28th order of the day is a motion on call for intervention in Nigerians' losses in flight against malaria, standing in the name of Benjamin Okejikalu and two other honorable members on Kalu is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, most distinguished Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Benjamin Okejikalu. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. I rise to move a motion on a call for intervention in Nigeria's losses in the fight against malaria. And I co-sponsored this motion with great honorable members like Honorable Yusuf Sununu, the Chairman, House Committee on Health Services, as well as Honorable Abubakar Dahiru, the Chairman, House Committee on AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes that Nigeria account for 27% of malaria cases and 31% of malaria deaths worldwide, with malaria killing no fewer than 200,000 Nigerians and afflicting 61 million others in 2021 alone, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, the House notes also that despite effort to contain malaria, Nigeria loses over $1 billion. That is an equivalent of 6. The House is aware that Nigeria has over the years made notable progress in scaling up an impact of malaria intervention as regards the utilization of mosquito nets for children less than 5 years has increased significantly from 6% to 49%, and parasite prevalence reduced from 42% in 2010 to 23% in 2018. The House also is aware that the National Malaria Elimination Program, NNEP, is the body responsible for formulating and facilitating policy and guidelines, coordinating the activities of partners, stakeholders of malaria control activities, providing technical support to states' malaria programs, local government areas and stakeholders, mobilizing resources, monitoring and evaluating progress and outcomes in malaria elimination effort across the country. Mr. Speaker, the House is concerned by a recent report from the Office of the Inspector General of the Global Fund indicating that NNEP has fallen from a grade known as B1 to B2 rating within 6 months, which undermines Nigerians' shot at assessing future grants and partnerships in the fight to eliminate malaria. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House also is concerned that considering that Nigeria is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Global Fund grant with a value of $412 million, the country is at risk of losing the grant and other partnership opportunities as a result of poor absorption, poor performance, and lack of domestic resource mobilization. The House further concerned that the poor performance of NNEP has caused the World Health Organization to neglect Nigeria in favor of Ghana, Kenya, Malawi for the rollout of the RTS-SJ AS01 malaria vaccine. The House is mindful that with the onset of the rainy season, Nigeria is in dire need of malaria intervention. The House recalls that on December 2nd, 2020, the federal government inaugurated the National Steering Committee of World Bank supported Immunization Plus and malaria progress by accelerating coverage and transforming services projects, which is known as the IMPACT, which is about the sum of $300 million project facility designed to fast-track government intervention in malaria to reduce under 5 mortality in Nigeria for 13 beneficiary states. The House is worried that almost 2 years later, despite the preparedness of the World Bank and the Islamic Bank to disperse the fund, the impact project is yet to commence. I repeat, honorable colleagues, that the House is worried that almost 2 years later, despite the preparedness of the World Bank and the Islamic Bank to disburse the fund, the impact project is yet to commence. The House is also worried that in the past year, non-approved mosquito nets have been procured and distributed in Nigeria without any rejection by the leadership of the National Malaria Program, despite a resolution by the House of Representatives calling for the prioritization of local content in the procurement of malaria commodities. The House is further disturbed that if nothing is done to address the underperformance of NMEP and improve the quality of malaria interventions in Nigeria, the country will continue to lose huge sums annually as well as thousands of lives. The House therefore resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Health, the National Malaria Program, and other relevant ministries, departments, agencies to comply with the resolution to prioritize local content when procuring malaria commodities using funds from the Impact Project Facility. Number 2, the House resolves to invite the leadership of the National Malaria Program to explain why defective mosquito nets are still procured, imported, and distributed in Nigeria against World Health Organization standards and local content directives from the House. Mr. Speaker and the House also resolves as number 3 to mandate the Committee on Health on HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria control, healthcare services, and health institutions to investigate the late/non-disbursement of the Impact Project Fund, the alleged underperformance and downrating of the National Malaria Elimination Program by the Office of the Inspector General of the Global Fund, and the procurement and distribution of non-approved mosquito nets across the country, and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Mukhtar Zakari Chawe. I represent the Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu. I so second.
Yes, you want to throw more light?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. The motion is actually self-explanatory. It borders on 2 things. That we are dying. Malaria is killing us in great numbers in this country. And as a house, we have taken legislative steps, legislative intervention, by ensuring that we partner with the various stakeholders to have a buy-in into this impact project. And we also went ahead to approve fund for it. And both WHO, both World Bank, both Islamic Bank, they are ready to roll out the fund. They are ready and they are asking, why are we not making use of this fund to be able to stop the impact of malaria in Nigeria that is killing especially those under 5 years of age. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the fact speaks for itself. The statistics are not looking good. I have, highlighted them in the motion on notice that is circulated among members. I would like the House to support this motion for the relevant stakeholders to be invited. And questions like, why are you still using unapproved nets? Why are you using unapproved mosquito nets around the country? Malaria commodities that are supposed to help us solve this problem. Why are you using unapproved one? The ones that does not have NAFDAC numbers, why are you using them? The one that is not approved by WHO, why are you using them? Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I can assure you that in some of their warehouses, some of these unapproved nets, they are still there. They are ineffective, and that is why when they are used by Nigerians, the impact, the particular efficiency supposed to drive is not there. I really urge this House to join hands with me to call these relevant stakeholders to order and provide a solution that will help us save lives. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Benny.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Benny La, I represent Lantern North and South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to align myself with the mover of this motion, my dear brother, Honorable Ben Kalu, the spokesperson of the House. You've spoken very well. You've said it all. You've spoken for Nigerians. We lose a lot of lives. Women and children suffer immensely because when a woman gives birth and the child is under 5 and she loses her child and has to bury him because of malaria, it's very sad that so much money has been voted for and nothing is being done. People are still dying of malaria, especially children, like you said, on a daily basis. We must do something to arrest this because less and less foreign grants is coming into the nation. And there's no reason why our nets should not be produced in Nigeria. There are so many fake mosquito nets out there. What is government doing about it? Mr. Speaker, we need to review this whole HIV, malaria interventions of government, but particularly malaria because it affects every Nigerian. HIV, you have to put yourself there before you get in trouble. But malaria affects everybody. So let us try and pass this motion for the good of our children and the health of our nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do I put the question? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The 21st order of the day is a motion on need to rehabilitate Elisha Baruba Chikanda Road in Baruten local government area of Kwara State, standing in the Honorable Muhammad Umar Bio. Honorable Bio is invited to move the motion.
His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues, Mohammed Omar Bia is my name. I am standing in for the people of Barutin and Kayama Federal Constituency. I come from Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise to move a motion on the need to rehabilitate Elisha Barba Chikanda Road in Barutin local government area of Kwara State. Know that Elisha Barba Chikanda Road is a trunky route that passes through several communities in Barutin local government area of Kwara State. Also know that the road is a major link from Nigeria to Republic of Benin, facilitating economic activities between Nigeria and the neighboring countries. Concern that the deplorable condition of the road has caused accident in recent time, which has resulted in the loss of lives and properties. Worried that the dilapidated state of the road has caused untold hardship to commuters who are forced to waste countless hours trying to maneuver the field portions on the road. Also worried that neglecting the road will negatively impact the economy of Kwara State and Nigeria as a whole. And therefore resolved, all the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to make provisions for the rehabilitation of Elisha Barba Chikanda Road in Barutin local government area of Kwara State in the 2023 budget estimates. To mandate the Committee on Works to ensure compliance. The Right Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Mark Bila.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, my very honorable colleagues. My name is Mark Tese Bila. I represent Gwe East, Gwe West Federal Constituency of Benue State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Mohammed Bio. I so second.
Amendment?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Agbedi Yetemne Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Ikremo Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is as to the second prayer. This motion's first prayer and the committee of this House in charge of what he has requested for his FEMA. And in the second prayer, he's saying that Committee on Works should ensure compliance. I'm wondering if Committee of Works is going to supervise the FEMA committee or otherwise. No. So my motion is that let prayer 2 be deleted. I so move, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Instead of deleting, you now ask be changed to Committee on FEMA to supervise. But it then depends on the coverage of the job. And I would have wished that you delay so that you have the effect of his own motion that he has moved, and let his constituents benefit. That instead of deleting, you include now in all the places, you should include Committee on FEMA and Works. So that whichever is given the job, he will not lose sight and then the benefit of it. I'm begging you to include Committee on Works, FEMA, to put in Committee on Works to be included in those to do, and then Committee on Works, Works and FEMA to be the ones to handle it, so that the committees now will be handling. I hope I'm understood.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my amendment would be that the Committee of FEMA and Works should ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder to the amendment. Seconder to the amendment. Honorable Miga.
Honorable colleagues, I'm Honorable Saidu Yusuf Miga. I represent Jaun Miga Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I rise to second the amendment moved by Honorable. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. My respected colleagues, the 22nd order of the day is a motion calling on the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to include Anambra and Enugu states in the ongoing National Agricultural Growth Scheme under 80ASP1, standing in the names of Honorable Vincent Ofumelu and 3 others. Honorable Ofumelu is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, respected colleagues. My name is Vincent Ekene Ofumelu. I represent the agrarian part of Anambra State, Oyi, and I am a federal constituency. I am from Anambra State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me this afternoon to move this motion. The motion is to call on the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development to include Anambra and Enugu states in the ongoing National Agricultural Growth Scheme, NAGS, under ATASP 1. The House notes that the ongoing National Agricultural Growth Scheme, that is NAGS, under ATASP 1, have implemented by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development failed to capture Anambra State and Enugu State under the scheme. Also note that the perceived oversight might not be deliberate in view of the pivoted role both states played in the terms of agricultural production. Worried that if nothing is done in regards of the regards of tendency that these states will be left out. Left out is very high. Concern that the non-inclusion of the states in the project will definitely affect the progress already received in the past years. Also concerned that the many farmers who are currently yearning and waiting for the intervention would end up disappointed. Resolve to urge the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to receive this omission with a view to including the two states in the project. Also resolve to mandate the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Former Deputy Chair, Appropriation.
The motion ably moved by Honorable Kun. I so second.
You want to lead the debate or put the question? He for she?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You can move.
Okay, I'm giving the chance to lead the debate.
Okay, for this place. Mr. Speaker, before the question, I want to. It's okay, you can go ahead with the question, Mr. Speaker.
Those, you want to add value to it? Why were you asking him to lead the debate then? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful, my colleagues.
I came into the chambers a few minutes to the motion to be taken, so with their briefcase.
So sorry, Mr. Speaker.
No.
They called some of my junior colleagues to bar, and I went for the function, so sorry.
Thank you, you're welcome.
It will not repeat itself.
Thank you. The 23rd order of the day is a motion calling on the federal government to establish a threat management and repellent intersecurity agency task force in correctional centers across the country, standing in names of Honorable Ben Roland, Honorable Igbakwa. Honorable Igbakwa is fighting for the motion.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ben is not on the floor. I move that this motion be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move.
Motion stepped down by the leader of the House. Respected colleagues, the 24th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to establish a federal medical center, Mubi, Adamawa State, and for related matters. On behalf to call the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 29 June 2022. The leader will move for his consideration. Thank you. When you finish.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, Comrade Peter Ohionzeji Akpatasin, MNI, I represent Akukwedo people. Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of a bill for an act to establish Federal Medical Center, Mubi, Adamawa State, and for other related matters, HB 679. Mr. Speaker, so moved.
acting whip of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Except that today there is no cocoa around.
My honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Madam Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the motion heavily moved by the deputy majority.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 25th order of the day is consideration of bill for an act to establish the National Agricultural Development Fund to provide funds for agricultural development and for related matters. All members recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 21st July 2022. The leader will move for its consideration.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Comrade Peter Hyozoja Patterson, MNI. I represent Akoko Edo people. I'm from Edo State. I move that a bill for an act to establish the National Agricultural Development Funds to provide funds for agricultural development and for related matters, HB 1319, be now considered. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Madam Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second for a bill for an act to establish a National Agricultural Development Fund to provide funds for agricultural development and for related matters, HB 1319B, read for the second time. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay.